everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and today I bring you my official top 5 for this week. Now, of course, before I get into my top 5, I wanted to give you a quick update on my channel and what's been going on lately, because I've been taking quite a bit of a break from making videos as of late, and there's a good reason as to why. One of the main reasons is, of course, my internet connection. The main problem as to why I haven't been uploading as many videos as possible and as many videos consistently as possible is more than likely because of my internet connection. I haven't been able to use the internet in quite some time now, so it's been very difficult to basically do anything when it comes to my YouTube. But of course, today I finally got that back in check, and I actually made a vlog about it not too long ago. I went over to EvilScar23's place, and we were doing some videos and camera tests and what have you, and I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to do my schedule vlog that I've been talking about for months now. I finally did it. It is going to be coming up, and of course I explain in more detail as to what's been going on in that vlog. So of course, whenever that gets uploaded, which more than likely will be by the end of this day or sometime in this week, definitely check that out so you can get not just an update on what's been going on, but more than likely an update on my channel overall. But that being said, definitely check that out. And of course, also that being said, I have tons of videos that I have been backed up on that I have not been able to upload, like my Justice League Gods and Monsters review, my Jurassic World movie review, which I actually am still contemplating as to whether or not I should still record, and a whole bunch of others. So and of course, if by any chance any of my subscribers are like on the internet all day and just like, God damn, what's with this guy? He keeps uploading multiple videos, and what is he, EvilScar23 all of a sudden? No, it's because I've been backed up with so much stuff that I have to just get it out there already. So that's, you know, the main thing that I actually kind of hate. I personally really dislike uploading multiple videos in a day, but it is what it is. I haven't had internet in a long time. I finally got it back. What are you going to do? At the end of the day, that's been the main reason as to why I haven't really been doing anything or replying to comments or what have you. So, but that being said, let's just get right into this top 5. And of course, this top 5 is not a normal top 5. It's a very unfortunate top 5, but it's more than likely a respectful tribute to a great man. And that's, of course, Sir Christopher Lee. Unfortunately passed away, I want to say June 7th. And ironically enough, we didn't get to find out that he actually did end up pass away until, like, I want to say the following week of him actually dying. And it was unfortunate to hear. I mean, Christopher Lee, of course, is an iconic actor and, you know, all-around great entertainer, and he was a great writer, he was a great singer, he was a great all-around person. And it's just unfortunate to see that he's, you know, finally passed, and it is what it is. It's a sad truth, but Christopher Lee, the great thing about him is that he had such a long, gigantic filmography that lots of people, generations past and future, will just get the chance to just sit down and relax and watch the great films that he did. So that's the benefit of something as tragic as this. But it's still very depressing to know that someone like him we won't be able to see be in another movie in the future, because he did amazing films with amazing filmmakers and amazing cast. But that being said, for this specific top 5, it will be dedicated to Christopher Lee's memory, and of course, kind of similar to my Robin Williams tribute, this will be specifically not dedicated to Christopher Lee movies, but to Christopher Lee roles, because the great thing about Christopher Lee, he wasn't like the main character of the movies he did. He was the supporting character, but he was like the game changer or the scene stealer of the picture that he was a part of, which was the great thing about Christopher Lee as an actor. But that being said, this is more or less a top 5 dedicated to the roles he's taken and the roles that define him as a actor, and of course the movies that he was a part of. But that being said, let's just get right down into this top 5. Coming up number 5, I know it's kind of cheesy, but it has to go to Francisco from the James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun. Now, of course, I'm not the biggest James Bond fan. I personally enjoy the James Bond franchise, but I don't love it as much as I do, like, you know, like Star Wars or Batman. But that being said, I do have a good appreciation for the James Bond franchise, and one of my favorites, just for hysterical reasons, is The Man with the Golden Gun. It's one of the cheesiest James Bond movies, and Christopher Lee's performance in it is amazingly hysterical and awesome at the same time. I mean, like, the great thing about the Bond films is that you get to go back and just watch them all in like in retrospect, just to get like a good perspective on what that franchise was heading towards and the multiple different kind of storylines they went into. And Golden Gun is definitely one of my favorite ones to go look back at because it's so funny and cheesy, and it's also just the way, no spoilers, but the way Christopher Lee, spoilers, dies is funny and cheesy that it takes the cake of the movie. So that's one of the main reasons as to why I put on this list. It's very difficult for me to just do a list on Christopher Lee and not mention the James Bond movie, because that character and the way he dies and the way this movie just is formatted in general is just hysterical to me. I love it. But that being said, moving off of that, going to number 4, and roles by Christopher Lee, of course, goes to the original Wicker Man. Of course, one of the most badass British mystery horror films. And of course, it's just one of those movies that you gotta watch in your lifetime. It's just, if there was those kind of like Sundance kind of lists of like 100 films before you die you must see, The Wicker Man is definitely on that list. It's an amazing film. It's an amazing just piece that anyone can just get right into. It's horrific looking. It's an amazing just picture in general. And of course, it's also more than likely well known for its American remake with Nicolas Cage, which is almost, it's not better, but it's awesome just in the fact of how hysterical it is. Keep that in mind. Moving off of that, going into number 3 on my list of Christopher Lee roles has to go to the most iconic that really put Christopher Lee on the map as an actor, has to be his Count Dracula role in the Hammer horror films. The Hammer horror films are mostly known from like from back in the day, from doing the monster films and what have you. And of course they did Dracula and the Mummy and Frankenstein to death, and they essentially created a new kind of Dracula with Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee, of course, everyone has their depiction of the iconic Dracula. Christopher Lee comes in and just gives it an entire different kind of twist and a new vibe and another great presence that Dracula kind of did or did not have at the time prior. And Christopher Lee just kills it as Dracula, and his movies that he did as the character, the quote-unquote protagonist/antagonist, is just an amazing series of films, and how consistent he was at playing that specific character is just really awesome just to bow down towards, just how many times he took on the role of Dracula, and it's just amazing. But overall, Count Dracula is just an iconic character in general, and I think Christopher Lee's performances that kind of helped it overall as well. But moving off of that, going to number 2 on the list of Christopher Lee roles has to go to Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus himself, from the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Now, there has been a lot of speculation, well, not speculation, there has been a lot of talk, bashing, and debate as to where the Star Wars universe dies, and a lot of it has to go with the prequel trilogy, where George Lucas went all crazy and created films that were kind of unnecessary, but at the same time, it gave us one of the best characters, which is, and more than likely, one of the best villains, which has to go down to Count Dooku. Count Dooku was so badass and so incredibly cool. Like, the second you see him in Episode 2, it's just like, you think he's going to be your friend, you think he's going to go on this path of justice and help out Obi-Wan, and he's seeking help consistently to try and destroy the dark side of the Force. But of course, no one really knows the future of the Star Wars universe other than the people who are watching, obviously. And then it just goes down to shit. And then you get this amazing battle, which is probably like the best battle of one of the prequels, hands down, with the exception of the third one, when everything went on emo. Has to go to Count Dooku kicking Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda's ass at fighting. He kicked all their asses consistently just by being such a badass Sith Lord. It was amazing just to see him do that. And of course, I don't know, overall Count Dooku is just an amazing badass character. I loved what he also did, adding the voice to Star Wars Clone Wars, which is also a pretty badass series if you're a Star Wars fan. But that being said, Count Dooku, amazing character, amazing addition to the Star Wars legacy, and I think amongst all the flaws with the prequel trilogy, if there was a silver lining amongst silver linings in this prequel trilogy, I have to say Christopher Lee as Darth Tyrannus Count Dooku is hands down one of my faves. He just is. He's just badass. His fights were amazing. His amazing speeches were crazy. I'm just saying, that performance in episode 2 where he just kicks all their asses and just gets the fuck out of there with, that stolen stupid blueprint on how to make the Death Star is freaking badass. And of course the Clone Wars are just really freaking awesome. Just over and over and all, just Count Dooku is really awesome. But that being said, I'm going to skip the honorable mentions for this specific list and go right to my number 1, which has to go down to his definitive role when it comes to the fan nerd in me, and of course a lot of us, which is of course Saruman from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and of course in the Hobbit films. To tell you the truth, I have not really dissected the Lord of the Rings trilogy as much as I've done other things in a long while. It's been a pretty decent long time. But there's a specific image in my head that I look back at when I think of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And that is the specific sequence in the Two Towers where Christopher Lee's character just totally backstabs Gandalf and just closes the doors on his ass. That image, and was it in Two Towers? I could be wrong about that. There's so many images from the Lord of the Rings trilogy that keeps me alive inside. But I want to say it was Two Towers, where he just closes the doors on his ass, and I was just like, oh, this guy's freaking awesome. That was the definitive moment where I knew that Christopher Lee's performance in the Lord of the Rings trilogies and the Lord of the Rings movies in general was something that this franchise needed amongst all the great performances. But that being said, Christopher Lee's that character is just so badass and amazing. Lord of the Rings just gave us a lot of great, incredible, amazing characters overall, but that character really stands out, especially when it comes to that film, The Two Towers. One of my faves. But that being said, there's not really much I can say that has not been already said about the legacy of Sir Christopher Lee, so all I can really say is that he will be missed, and rest in peace, and definitely, if you're a fan of just film, you need to check out at least half of his filmography, because majority of it is amazing, and majority of it is just worth watching. It's just like I said before, it's just one of those times where you need to put on the list of things you need to watch before you die. Before you kick the bucket, you got to see at least a couple dozen Christopher Lee films, whether it be the Star Wars, the Lord of the Rings, the Dracula films, just multiple fucking films that he's done in the past and present, just really amazing. But overall, that's pretty much my tribute, my dedication to Sir Christopher Lee. Let me know in the comments below what you personally thought about Christopher Lee's filmography. It's pretty fucking overwhelming, if you will, when you look at it in perspective and try to consider what roles are better than the others. So, of course, once again, it goes into that long time, saying that I say in all my top 5s that it's subjective and my personal opinion. So, of course, in the comments below, let me know what you personally thought were the definitive roles of Sir Christopher Lee. And, of course, let me know what you personally think about Christopher Lee's passing overall in the comments below. Are you sad? What movies did you enjoy from him? What are your personal thoughts on the future of films without Christopher Lee? Just let me know in general what you personally think in the comments. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. Hope you guys enjoyed. This has been John 12.